Hi, people. More innovation, but again, as always, and as usual. Yeah, as you can tell based on the header of this video, this is going to be interview two, dos with Maciej. Um, and people that haven't watched the first interview, I recommend that you watch that first, and then you can come back and watch this if you feel like it. It's up to you. Now, anyways, long story short, what I said in the first interview is that Maciej is a customer of mine, customer slash friend, and I helped him out with all the issues he had, the absolute stink pile that was his life. And obviously, he's doing much better now. Now, since the first interview, he has grown a lot stronger. Um, his current power level is 200, believe it or not. But of course, he deserves it. He paid for all of it and whatnot. Off the top of my head, I think thus far, other than the amount I mentioned in the first video, he has paid like an additional 6,000 euros, 7,000, around that amount to get to where he's at and all the improvements. So yeah, now he is bona fidely like 10 times stronger than a decent veteran that you'll find out there, like a power level 10, 10 to 20 times stronger than the so-called veterans that you'll find in most YouTube group, I mean Facebook groups and what am I looking for again? Thingy channels, forums and whatnot online and orders, yeah, the occult orders, blah 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 blah. You know the so-called well-known occultists out there. He is technically stronger than them. I say technically because obviously he's not as experienced as those guys, but it doesn't really matter in terms of raw power. Yeah, uh, he can more than handle himself. I'm going. I told Mashik that I'll be letting him do the talking. He can literally just say what's on his mind regarding the subject that I brought up, all the progress he's made, all the stuff he's done, etc. In his personal life as well as his professional life as a magician overall. And yeah, it just goes on. So you can have the mic, Mashik, so to speak. Everybody's listening to you.
Okay, so yeah, like Moino already told, my name is Mishik from the part one. This is the part two, and yeah, what can I say? Yeah, basically, I'm a lot stronger mentally, physically, and astrally and spiritually. And yeah, the benefits are obviously that, for example, interacting and summoning with the spirits is just great. For example, the first time I think that I saw when summoning a celestial spirit, so the angel, I saw that after uh, basically, let's say, giving the license to depart, but not like in the traditional Western ceremonial magic. Just say, okay, now you can go. Basically, the first time I saw that, the spirit just was gentle, not bow to me, but essentially just look like this, essentially. And for example, other things that I noticed with the spirits that I uh, are currently working. So, for example, like Lucifer, Zapkiel, and so on and so forth. They are more solid, but in the same time, they are also uh, more
Transparent.
more transparent, but in a good way, of course. They are also more intense. And the other things that I also noticed is that, for example, when I had difficulties with diving into mind someone that is really insane, really like basically like a black hole or something like that. Essentially, now I can handle that without any issues, without any problems. So yeah, this is what. And also what I noticed that basically I am capable of gathering more energy. For example, uh, spiritually as well as astrally. For example, I'm not so limited like I was previous. I can handle more, and of course, the results speaks for itself. So it's a huge change. Yeah, the previous was also a huge change, but this is like overall just like tremendous change for me. Um, okay, so yeah, what can I say more? Mm.
Your personal life, for example, the things that you've noticed since the first interview.
Yeah, I also noticed that, for example, people when are interacting with me, they are more gentle, they are more uh, maybe not obedient because that's not the good phrase for that, but essentially it's easier to interact with the people. And for example, when I see someone and talk or communicate with another person, they basically uh, they have better attitude. They approach me overall, so it's easier to get in touch or get contact with literally someone, especially from someone that is, for example, like a woman or something like that.
Uh-huh. And how are things going work-wise since we last spoke?
Yeah, basically, uh, as my I basically use my clairvoyant abilities to solve the issues, for example, regarding work-related matters and everything. It's easier to find a solution, really. It's easier and better just uh, find what's wrong and basically to fix that. It's much more easier and faster. And about the basically the occult practice, yeah, this is basically just overall tremendous, like I already said, tremendous change in a good way, of course.
Yeah. What's also notable is that Mashik, in his practice, the same that way that I taught him, but he also deducted that from my e-course that he bought 4 years ago, is that he doesn't use any implements, no hypothetical nonsense, only hypothetical. It's not nonsense, obviously. But let's just say no outdated, unnecessary, by modern standards, implements such as wand or a ritual space or anything like that. You don't use any of that stuff, obviously, do you, Mashi?
Yeah, there is no need, for example, for using like those circles, triangles of arts, or like you said, wands and special ropes, anything like that. It's not necessarily. Just uh, it's just not needed, basically, to successfully summon the spirit and to work with spirit for any goal.
Something that Mashik told me, interesting, is that he still can't believe the huge change and that he is afraid. That's literally what he told me, that he's going
Yeah.
to wake up and he's going to find himself under his mother's boot again, and that he's going to find himself a worthless loser again, the way he used to be before he met me, and before I coached him through video call. And he just thinks that he's going to be back to his old life because he literally can't believe that. And I explained to him, I told him, yeah, that's normal. It's like being dirty your entire life. You were born, no one ever told you to take a shower, and you literally have like 20, well past 20 years of dirt on your body. You've never once come into contact with water. And then you take a shower, someone introduces you to a shower, they give you soap, etc., shampoo. You literally take a shower, you clean your body completely. When you come out, you will literally feel like the cleanest person on the planet. And in his case, again, when you're this is something that should never happen. But when you essentially become dirty, I mean, metaphorically, when you live your entire life since you were born into misery and you spent your entire life in the darkness, so to speak, your entire life in pain and suffering to a point where it becomes commonplace. This is something that shouldn't happen, of course. This is something that definitely should never happen. That you become thingy, that you become used to pain and misery. It's like saying, okay, I am, for example, crippled, so I'm used to being crippled. That should never happen. You should never get used to negativity. But it still happens. I know from firsthand experience as well. I kept reminding myself back in the day when I had to deal with insurmountable levels of misery. And your spirit, you spiritually, your astral body, your spirit becomes used to that negativity. But I didn't allow that to happen. I kept reminding myself that, this is not normal. You're not supposed to, this is not what life is supposed to be like and whatnot. And that's the same thing with Machik. And I told him, yeah, that's normal. You feel this way because Sometimes you feel this way because you spent your entire life in pain and suffering, and now that you finally know what it's like to be strong and to actually have the world be subject to you rather than have the world walk over you like you're some doormat, then it takes some getting used to, which I understand fully. The same way that it would take the dirty person in that example or metaphor I gave earlier to get used to the thing, the feeling of cleanliness and the scent of cleanliness itself, and that does not smell like shit. Get used to the smell of shit, and yeah, you should get used to that. And it's the same thing essentially. And one thing I told Maciej to the point where he wrote it down, a saying that all of you need to remember out there. Very simple. Look at me, look into my eyes. The world respects power. The world respects strength. The world bows down and submits itself to strength and power. The world does not respect weakness. The world mistreats and disrespects weakness. Plain and simple. Be strong, be powerful, and the world will metaphorically bow down to you and all of its inhabitants. Be weak, and it's going to be the exact opposite. The world will disrespect you, and the world will walk over you like you are a $1 doormat. Plain and simple. This is something that people definitely need to keep in mind. It doesn't matter whether it's your fault or not. Nothing, of course, no one, nothing is anybody's fault. None of us choose life. None of us choose existence. You're born and you have to deal with the negativity, if there is any negativity. Positivity, it does not matter. You're born and you have to deal with what is called life. So whether it be for better or for worse, but for a good deal of people, there is a lot of in the world. There is a lot of negativity. So you're born into negativity, and of course, it's not your fault. Nothing is anybody's fault. The concept of it being someone's fault doesn't apply. There is no blame game or anything like that. You find yourself in a position that you didn't choose. That doesn't mean that you don't have to deal with it. It doesn't mean that you're free from the consequences or the results, or albeit negative results from your situation. No one chooses to be in a situation. No one chooses, for example, when you're driving on the road, no one chooses to be in a traffic collision. No one chooses having a car drive up to them and smash them face first to the point where it's a full frontal thing. Exactly. No one chooses that. But yet, when that happens, if that were to happen to any person, or better said, when that happens to people, they still have to deal with the negativity. They have to deal with any injuries they've sustained. They have to deal with the damage to their vehicle. They have to deal with the person that not ran them over, the person that literally collided into them. They have to deal with all the negativity. They have to deal with the insurance. No one chooses to be crippled. No one chooses to be handicapped. Okay? No one chooses to be in a wheelchair. But when you're in a wheelchair, guess what? You still need special assistance. You're not free from the consequences and all the negativities that come along with being in the position that you did not choose. Okay? You have to still deal with the fact that you can, metaphorically speaking, bluntly put, barely wipe your own ass, and you need someone else to wipe your ass for you. You have to deal with the fact that you can't climb into bed and you have to be put into bed like a baby by a caretaker of some sort. It just goes on. None of that. No one enjoys any of that. It's dehumanizing, especially if you're a man. It's dehumanizing and emasculating. You feel like a shriveled up piece of shit, plain and simple. You feel horrible. You feel like an eggplant, like you're some piece of vegetable that's being put in the fridge to the point where you want to kill yourself. Yes, but that still doesn't mean that you didn't choose any of that. But that still doesn't mean that you're automatically free from the consequences. No, you still have to deal with all the negativity that comes along with such a situation, regardless or irregardless of whether that's your fault or not. So, yeah, these are all things that people need to keep in mind. Um, Now, let me see, what else was there to mention? Oh, yeah, actually, tell people about, since the first time we spoke, all the dreams that you have had that obviously are spiritual messages from your own astral body, your own spirit essentially gave you these dreams as a means of conveying a message to you, as in showing you what's going on, as confirmation.
Yes, yeah. My astral body, like Moid already said, is reminding me about all of the occult progress, and basically that this is still going on. And basically, yeah, the the things that are currently going on will also be progressing in the future, so in a long term. So yeah, for example, basically the dreams, for example, were referring to basically the occult practice and everything and interacting with the spirits that, for example, will benefit in the future. For example, in case, for example, like mm, earning more money, or for example, like more opportunities and everything like that. And yeah, opportunities not only to the work related things, but for example, interacting with the, let's say, the second half, so essentially with the women. So yeah, and so that would be also very beneficial and very, let's say, juicy in a manner of speaking.
Yes. Yeah, you can tell people about a little example, just one or two of the actual dreams you had to just describe the actual description of the dream.
Yeah, for example, I had a dream. So basically, when I had yeah, the family dinner, basically, I saw all of my family members that they look like they didn't have colors. They were like on the grayish scale, so only like black and white and everything. And I remember in some moment of the dream, basically, I separated from them. And I remember I was in the elevator in that building with a friend of mine. And yeah, basically, the elevator started behaving like it was charmed or under some spell, essentially flying away from that building. And yeah, in some period of time, basically, I decided with the friend of mine to leave mm, the elevator and to jump on the street. Yeah, it wasn't very high. It was like a 1 meter or something, because it was floating around the space. And yeah, the meaning of the dream was obvious. So essentially, in the future, I would be, I finally will be, let's say, free from any, let's say, the past, essentially related to my family and everything. So basically, that would not be any issue for me. And yeah, this is one of the things that I basically want the most. So freedom of basically living on my own standards without anyone to saying me what, when, how, and basically I can, for example, bring to my home or to my apartment anyone to do everything I want. Of course, in the good way, not something sinister or anything like that.
Mhm. Okay. Um, I also had a dream, but that was on Mashik's behalf. Long story short, I dreamt that I was on a date with this girl, and this girl was fairly good looking. On a scale of 0 to 10, she was like a 6 by my standards, so average. Um, but by global standards, like 6.5, 7. She was slightly above average. And Mashik was also with me. And it turns out that essentially, because the girl was also from Mashik's home country, Poland, that let's just say there was, compared to me, there was a better, like I said, mental understanding to the point where they got along better with each other. So essentially, in the dream, metaphorically only, Mashik stole my girl. But that was only metaphorically. In the dream, I didn't bother with it, or I didn't mind or care. I actually encouraged it. And of course, there was another unpleasant aspect where this girl essentially wanted to have a threesome with me and Mashik. And I was like, okay. And that's when I woke up. And I went through the usual when I want to know what a dream is, my intuition or my astral body, and or my astral body tells me after I ask it. Um, and essentially, one of the spirits that Mashik works with, that he got from me, essentially gave me the dream because Mashik, no offense to him, he lacks the intellectual capacity to fully understand and grasp and to comprehend the meaning of the dream. So for the spirit, it was the easiest route to simply give me the dream because I can fully make sense of it. And this spirit specifically specializes in relationships and associating with people, bringing people together, stuff like that. And I'll get to that in a second. And I explained it to Mashik. I essentially told him that um, that spirit is simply conveying the power that it is essentially bestowing upon your life, or what it is bringing to your life in the way of results. It's simply a confirmation of things to come, essentially, especially in the long term. And the fact that Mashik can get a woman like that, a woman even that is beyond average, or above average in terms of overall looks and whatnot, based on a general mutual understanding. Let's just say a like mind, if you will, or of similar minds, being of similar minds. It's not all about physical appearance and whatnot. And, you know, it in that context, okay, that's the way that the spirit operates, essentially, specifically showing you, hey, so the message to Mashika is, hey, you can get a girl even that is technically speaking out of your league, a girl that essentially, when it comes to appearance and looks, physical attraction, you can punch above your weight metaphorically. You can find a woman that is, or you will get a woman that is more attractive compared to you from a neutral perspective, because it's not all about looks. If you get along well with someone mentally, you two understand each other, then the girl will also take a liking to you, or that woman will take a liking to you, and you'll be with each other romantically and sexually before you know it. But of course, the last part of the dream, the and the spirit, of course, sees to all of that. He's the one that materializes that reality. But of course, there is a downside, a metaphorical downside, and that's what the threesome essentially meant, or that girl wanting to have that threesome. It means that this girl, essentially, these kind of women, essentially, the drawback of their personality is that they want to have their cake and eat it too. So they want to have it both ways. And that's what the threesome in the dream signifies. These women are prone to essentially wanting all the benefits and none of the drawbacks. So in the dream, she wanted to have a threesome because she got along well with him based on mentality and just um, overall mutual cultural mind way of thinking. But at the same time, she also wanted to enjoy my attractiveness, my physical attractiveness and good looks. And that's what the threesome signifies. So essentially, that spirit is saying, hey, Mashik, I gave Morino this dream because he can fully comprehend it, whereas you can't. Morino has the genius, obviously, the genius levels of intelligence. He can immediately grasp what it means fully, and he'll explain it to you. And I can easily get you, I can, relatively speaking, easily get you a girl that will, that is essentially out of your league when it comes to physical attraction and whatnot. Because just to show you that it's not all about looks and appearance, you'll be able to get along well with this girl because you guys think the same, you have the same interests, you guys have the same mentality, the same line of thinking or way of thinking. And that way, you've got a girl that, for example, traditionally a guy like you can never get, etc. But of course, there's a metaphorical drawback. These girls will have a tendency to want to have their cake and eat it too. They want it both ways. They want all the benefits and none of the drawbacks of interacting with you. So that's simply something to be mindful of. What you decide to do with that is up to you. But bottom line is, I do my job. My duty is to bring you opportunities, and you decide whether you want to accept that opportunity or reject it. And yeah, that's essentially what it means. Now, speaking of that, the spirit in question is the caretaker, the egregore. Mashik, unsurprisingly, he has bought three egregores thus far. Well, four, but one had to be specifically created for him.
Yeah.
The other three were the three that I already had on my so-called on my market on my web page. He is the one that they were sold to. It's the Wellbringer, Enrique Divino, and the Caretaker. He bought all of those three. Um, and his total is four egregores. There is also another one that he bought, bringing it to five, and another one I created for him on the house, bringing it to six. So he has six egregores. Other than that, he works with Lucifer, Future of Okal, and Lucifer. And is it six? Let me see. One, two, three, four, five, and six. Yeah, six. Comes to six, if I'm not mistaken. Six or seven, but it's six, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Anyways, six, and yeah, he's expressing an interest in a seventh. One of the two that I have left on the market. Um, and yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, no, obviously, listen, the reason that he bought all of these is because I told him it's addicting, isn't it? The second you come into contact with divine power, you keep wanting more. It's like an orgasm. You literally experience your first orgasm. You're like, oh God, that feels so good. I want more, more, more. Most of my customers are repeat customers. They like the quality of what I offer so much that they keep wanting more and more and more. And it's the same thing with Maciej. Maciej literally bought one, he wanted another one, he wanted another one, and another one, and another one, and it just goes on. And obviously, the spirits that he works with, for example, Lucy Future of Okal also told him to to essentially buy one or two of these spirits from me for extra power, especially in the financial department. Um, of course, Maciej stretches himself to a metaphorical breaking point financially, but at the same time, he understands that it's necessary. And that's also why I'm helping him. And that brings me to another point. Again, I will fully help someone, and I enjoy helping someone that legitimately deserves it. I didn't have to ask Mashik for anything. Mashik didn't like, he's not some stupid freeloading parasite or someone that essentially wants something for free, as in, hey, Moino, can I get this for free? Or can I get, no, 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 no. Mashik doesn't pull any of that bullshit. Otherwise, I would have told him to piss off a long time ago. Now, Mashik fully grasps the comprehension of, hey, quality costs money. Even if I told him, hey, this is going to cost 100,000 euros, he wouldn't say, oh, no, that's how you kidding me, that's way too much, etc. No, he understands that, hey, something of such a magnitude is equivalent to the price he's asking. So, no questions. It's very simple. I either have the money or I don't. End of story. If I don't, then I'm out of luck. The very basic concept of commerce. I go to a store, you see a bottle of juice, it's $50 or 50 euros. End of story. You either have the money to buy it or you don't. End of story. The cashier is going to tell you you can't afford it, then why are you even here to begin with? Then piss off. It's that simple. And it's going to throw you out of the store. That's exactly. But the mere fact that some people need to be reminded of this notion, you can imagine metaphorically how much that would piss off anyone, let alone me. So again, I know how to deal with these types, and I don't bother. My point is his mentality and his thingy, his mentality and his intentions are pure. Okay, he's not someone that has sinister or ulterior motives or intentions. He legitimately wants what's best for himself, and he is willing to go the distance and beyond. And that's when I said, this is someone that legitimately deserves help. This is someone that really will work himself to the bone for a better life. And I have the means to give him a better life, so I'm giving it to him. End of story. I give him the proposal, etc. I am willing to help him out with the freebie on occasion. I go above and beyond because this is someone that legitimately deserves the best because not only does he want what's best for himself, he literally goes about it in a constructive manner. He does it because he legitimately deserves it. He deserves a good life. So I was like, yeah, no problem. You deserve a good life. You've done everything up. End of story. And that's why on occasion I give him free stuff. Someone that truly deserves the best. And another point also that I was going to bring up, something I also told him, and something that we came to a conclusion to with the last payment he made, I think a week or two ago. You can have 10 spirits, one spirit, 100, 1,000 spirits, okay? Those spirits will only be able to help you out the extent to which is equivalent to how strong you are as a magician. Because initially he wanted to buy another Egregore of mine, and I told him, um, specifically the negotiator, which is still up on the market. The negotiator and the thief are up on the market. Those are the only two left for now. The only two ones left for now. And I essentially explained to him that, okay, you already have bought quite a couple of guys. I, more than anyone, I'm all open for you buying everything. I care less. More business for me. But in a matter of speaking, as long as you need them, of course, and you want them and whatnot. But I explained to him that you need understand as well that listen, you can have 1,000 guys. Your results aren't going to get better if you don't become stronger. Okay, your power level and your overall mental strength, your astral strength, will determine how well you do in the way of results. Um, like it's as simple as For example, a simple cup, a small cup, and you want to fill water in it. You'll only be able to fill as much water inside that cup as it can handle. Even if you need more water because one tiny ass cup isn't enough, guess what? You're not going to get more water because the cup can only handle so much. The cup is a metaphor for your astral body. Whereas when you upgrade to a legitimate glass beaker like mine, you can have a lot more water and thereby you'll be able to quench your thirst a lot more as well. And it just goes on. Okay, a lake can only have as much water as its geographical outline can handle. The ocean has like almost infinite amounts of water because it's the ocean. Geographically, it can handle so much water. That's it. Okay, that's my point. So you need to be aware of this, and that's when I told him. And after he understood that, we came to the agreement that it's best instead of buying the egregore that he uses that money to increase his power level. And I and let me see, he went from 8.5 to
Mhm.
160. Yeah, that's quite a big
Yeah.
jump, and he knows that he felt it as well. Um, and I gave him an extra 40 like a week or so after, just on the house. I was just like, yeah, sure, you can have. It's not an issue. You can have an additional 40, and it's rounded off to 200 now. So his power level now is 200, and he can attest to that. I'll let him talk in a second. In the way of results and his overall daily life and the practice things that he has noticed definitely in the wake of his new power level. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, it's yeah, like Moin already stated, the power level 200 is tremendous. For example, not only the seeing and hearing, so clairvoyance and clairaudience, but for example, the smelling is also much more intense. And yeah, for example, diving into someone's really insane mind, it doesn't take so much toll on me. It's not like, for example, like elephant sit on my head, but it's basically, for example, like a fly or literally something very small, just sit to the point that it's not noticeable. And yeah, for example, about summoning other spirits, for example, I don't know, like Astaroth or Amaimon, it's also less energy consumable, and for example, it's also easier to contact and to speak and just interact overall. It doesn't take so much energy. And yeah, basically the other things are uh, I can also see much more spiritually and astrally much more details. For example, the spirits that I see and that I work with. And yeah, what can I say? Just results speak for themselves. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is just great.
Yes. Notably as well, the spirits that he works with, they are more intense and they're bigger and they bring about much more effective results because just for that reason, the aforementioned reason, now that he can handle more power, then the spirits that he works with can also essentially influence and exert a greater influence over his life and bring about necessary results. Because if he's limited, then obviously the spirits that he works with are limited in how much they can bring to him. It's again, last example is that you want to give someone $1 million worth of money or €1 million, but the person has like a backpack that can only take 10,000. Even if you want to give that person a million, that person can only handle 10,000. So, you can't do anything. The person, once you fill that bag up 10,000, for the rest you can't help. You can't do anything else. You want to give the person more, but the person can't handle more. The same thing with the spirits that someone works with, that any practitioner works with, any magician works with. If the spirits want to bring about better results, but if you're limited in terms of how much energy you can take in, so you're limited by energy intake, then the spirit also can't do more. He says, okay, this will have to wait until the next metaphorical cycle, until I can fill you up with energy again that will bring about results. That's my point. So this is definitely something that needs to be kept in mind. Um, and let me see if there's anything else I forgot to mention. No, that's essentially it. So to everybody watching, thanks
You
again as
have mail.
always. Yeah, I have mail, obviously. And until next time, people, me and Mashik say bye.
Yeah, bye.